Calling this a first look, and the reason I'm calling this a first look is because I want to talk about it, but I have not been able to perform it for an audience yet. I haven't been able to perform the routines and all the things inside of Mark Lemon's Devious project, and I want to talk about it. I'm excited about it, but I'm reminded of David Williamson, who in one of his lectures talked about the idea that whenever we're imagining performing for an audience, everything's going great, the audience is super wonderful and friendly, and everything is gelling. But whenever you actually go to perform in the real world, things that you could not have anticipated or didn't think were going to happen, and now suddenly that great idea that you had for an effect no longer works. So I want to talk about this. I want to call it a first look because I want to share with you my excitement about the project. I think based on my experience, a lot of these things are going to be wonderful real world things that you can perform. But with any magic trick, I really like to give it a long test run. I like to see, does this end up staying in my set? Do I continue to perform this? Are there things that I don't like about it that you only find out after, weeks or months of performing it? And I can't give you that in a short-term review. All I can do is try to grab the views, talk about the thing, tell you my opinion on it as it stands right now. But I want to do a much longer-term review where I come back and I visit these first-look tricks and give you a more in-depth analysis after having had some time spending with it. So I hope that's something that's interesting to you. Let's talk about it real quick. This is called Devious, and that's play on words because it's Devios. This thing, there's hardly any talk about it online, which is weird because it's by Mark Lemon, which everybody should know Mark Lemon. The Magic Cafe barely has anything on it. There are barely any reviews. It came out the 1st of December. So it's been out for like a month and a half, and there's hardly anybody talking about this. I think I don't know if it's a shadow release or it wasn't something he didn't want to put a lot of marketing money or effort into, but like I found it by accident on VanishingInkMagic.com. It's interesting. It's very compelling. You guys probably know I own a lot of app magic. I own hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in app magic that I perform, that I love every day. Things like Hydra, things like Inject, Wikitest. I love these things and I use them all the time. Peaksmith, and I have like almost all of the extensions for Peaksmith. I use a lot of magic apps in my professional work. I love magic apps. But the problem that I've always had, and I've asked Shamir Salim about this, not to be morbid, but I said, what happens if a developer dies? What happens to the trick? Do developers have something in place where, in the unfortunate event, they are no longer able to update the app? Do you have some kind of system set up so that the rights fall to somebody else? Or do you have other people on a staff that keep it maintained, even if you're not? And the answer pretty much that I found out is no, not really. Things will work for a while until some major update changes, either, some kind of conflict with an operating system on a phone, or a way that Google or some other server behaves. Then they should work for a while until something like that happens, and then eventually, entropy will sink in and it will get destroyed. It won't work anymore. I myself have bought maybe 2 or 3 apps that have ceased support. Apps from Illusionist, from a large manufacturer, and I love Illusionist. I'm a brand ambassador for Illusionist, but they've had apps that just stopped working. And and then they were never updated, and they just fell to the wayside. Things I really, really liked. Things by Lloyd Barnes I just really loved. That he had an effect. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it was you would spin the timer, and it would slow and stop on a number, and then you would have somebody count down to that number with a deck of cards, and it would be the card at that number, right? It was any card at a number. It was great. I really liked it. It's not supported anymore. It's just, you pay your 30 or 40 bucks. Maybe you're lucky enough to be able to perform it as many times as you can. And then at some point, on the whim of, or the lack of interest of, or whatever, it stops working, stops being supported. Really freaks me out, considering how much money I've spent in these apps. The thing I really like about this is this promises you to be able to do a lot of really great magic with your phone, a lot of really great stuff. Doesn't go into too much detail in the ad copy, when I can talk about it a little bit here. But this is things that are built using your Apple Shortcuts app, which is supported by Apple. And Apple's not going anywhere. And if anything is modified by Apple, it will be with the idea that the shortcuts still need to work. And so this should be something that lasts for a very long time without any fear that the support's going to be dropped for it, because they're just programs that Mark has written in Apple Shortcuts that allow you to do some really, actually very incredible things. This is the package here, okay? There's not a lot talked about this online either. You know, Mark doesn't really show any performance videos like on like in the marketing material, but then like if you buy the thing, buy the project, then you get all kinds of like performance videos, which are excellent and should be shown like as part of the marketing copy, but I don't know why he doesn't do that. I think the market, I mean, I just bought this on a whim and a hope based on his name and my interest in protecting or having tricks on my phone that couldn't be destroyed by lack of interest or whatever else from an app developer. So he definitely got my interest piqued with this. It's called Devious or Devios. Mark Lemon, addsomelemon.com. I bought this one at vanishinginkmagic.com, but I know that Penguin Magic also carries it. I think you can also buy it from Mark's website directly. It says, always prepare to perform mind-blowing mentalism with your iPhone and the Devious gadget. Peek and force numbers, pins, words, web searches, star signs with reliability and ease. Included on this project are standalone effects for groups and one-on-one performances. And yeah, there's a lot of really great stuff. 2 hours of tuition. It's great. I went through the whole thing, watched it. The gadget, as you might suspect, I don't know why it's some kind of big secret. I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with showing you guys this. It's not some proprietary thing. It's a Bluetooth remote. It's a nice Bluetooth remote, but it's a Bluetooth remote. So that's the gadget you're getting, okay? And then everything else is the programming and the shortcuts that Mark has programmed for you that are the actual effects. On the inside of the really cool, like, blacked out Altoids tin, you also get the website where you can go to watch the tutorials, and then you also get with it a separate website, all password protected and username protected, to be able to download the shortcuts, so that way you don't actually have to write all these programs out yourself. You're not given instructions on how to write these programs out. You're able to download them directly to your phone, and then with a little tweaking inside, get them to behave the way that you would like to. I don't know why it wasn't talked about in more depth. There's no great secrets there. Anybody who's ever done anything with App Magic knows what this is and knows that these are things that exist. So I don't think there's any big secret. I don't think I'm revealing anything by saying it's a Bluetooth remote. I think you should know that that's what the magic gimmick is. You're not paying, and it's $59.99. You're not paying for the Bluetooth remote. It's nice to get something in the package, but really what you're paying for is you're paying for some very clever programming on Mark's part. I wish I could talk more about it. Maybe I will talk about it more in the members area, where I can talk more candidly about these things, but on mainline YouTube I can't. So if you'd be interested in that, let me know, and I will add that to the membership videos, okay? But my initial impressions are, it's not difficult to set up. It's not, you don't really have to do any of the weird, you don't have to do any coding kind of things. Everything's really clear and easy to understand. I will say that the videos, whenever I was watching the tutorials, while they're shot well enough, mic'd well enough, I found myself getting a little bit frustrated, because there were several times where he was talking about the different types of peaks that you could perform using his methods. But there is an extra piece which he doesn't explain and tells you he will explain it eventually, and he will explain it eventually, and he will explain it. And he does eventually explain what that extra software piece is inside of Shortcuts, and how it works, and why it works, and why it's how it integrates with everything else. The problem is, you want to follow along. You're getting the instructions on how to do everything. You're trying to set everything up. You want to be able to follow along, and it wasn't set out in what I thought was a very logical way, from the standpoint of, like, let's get our phones up and ready and programmed and ready to do this as fast as possible so I can get to practicing. Instead, It was a lot of, here's this cool thing you can do, and I'll tell you how to do it in a minute. And here's this cool thing you can do, I'll tell you how to do it in a minute. It's like, yeah, but that's not very efficient from the sake of setting all this up, Mark. I would have really liked to see, okay, do these things in this order, and then we will walk through what each of them one at a time, and then you will get the understanding of how each of these different types of effects work, and then show maybe a performance of how to actually execute this in a real world scenario. And that's what I would have liked to seen it, how I would have liked to seen it laid out. You still get all the information that you need, but now you're having to do some backtracking stuff where you watch all the videos, you understand it finally, 45 minutes in or whatever. Then you've got to set it all up, and then you've got to go back through the videos again to make sure you understand it and you can follow along. So it's like you're having to watch it several times. I'm not a fan of that setup for instruction. But you get all the instruction you need. There's really not much left to be, no stone really left unturned. The other thing I would have liked seeing Mark do, and maybe it's you guys, if you're all magicians, you probably all belong to lots of Facebook communities around different effects or different tricks or whatever, where we can talk with. Mark doesn't have a Facebook community. And maybe I shouldn't expect him to, but it seems like this is the type of thing. It's a creative platform where, yes, he's set out these things and you can perform the effects just the way he's programmed them. But with a little tweaking, you can do some kind of really special stuff, either through routining or with tweaking the shortcuts just here and there, being able to create something much deeper, much more robust, more integrated, and fleshed out. And I think that having the ability to access other people who own this and collaborate in that way, like you can on other Facebook communities, would have been a really excellent thing to do. And that was a missed opportunity. Hopefully Mark will eventually end up doing that, but I don't know how you do it now. How do you capture all those people now? So there's that. First look. I've been talking for a good long time. Initial impressions are good. I like it. It's interesting. I like the idea that, the effects are good, for one. I have apps that I've paid more for. Yeah, paid at least as much or more for, that only accomplish one of the 12 different types of effects and peaks and things that you can do with Mark's Devious. And I like that it's supported by Apple, not by just some one random developer, right? I do like that because it gives me confidence that the app is not going anywhere, that these things will continue to exist from phone to phone to phone, and for the foreseeable future, and I won't have to worry about support. So I really like that. That allows me to feel better about the future prospects of performing these types of effects. So initial impressions are good. I can't say buy it yet because I have not been able to perform it yet, and I don't know. I haven't been able to perform any of the effects yet, and I can't tell you how realistic it's going to be to actually perform in real life, because I do have some further questions about weird artifacts that appear on screen. Again, I can't talk too much about this in this platform, but if you guys want me to make that membership video talking more in depth or more candidly, or even doing a membership live stream where we can really dig into it, I would like to do that. So let me know if that's of interest to you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you got some value out of this. If it's, check it out. For $60, you could spend that on one app, and this might be something really interesting to check out. It's the most compelling thing that I've found in the app world in quite a while, and I really like that it's built using Apple software, and that makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. So I'll review this later. I'll review this over the several weeks, and then I'll come back and I'll give you guys my full verdict on it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, you can leave me a comment, and I will really appreciate you guys. I really do. Thank you so much for sticking in there with me. We're going to get back to a regular upload schedule, and I'm looking forward to that very much. I'll see you guys very soon. Cheers.